Welcome to SFH Presents One More Podcast.
Welcome to SFH Presents One More Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Polk, here with my co-host, Ty Southern.
Hey.
Just a reminder right out the gate, we are not medical professionals. We are just a couple of dudes talking to real people about real shit, trying to make it funny, somewhat. Today we have with us Michelle, is it Lang?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's sometimes people pronounce that differently, oddly enough. I don't know how you can pronounce L-A-N-G differently.
We're
but
simple folk.
Yeah. I prefer that.
If you don't pronounce it Lang, they're mispronouncing it, whoever they are.
Yeah. No, there was a guy named Robert Lang in the NHL, and he pronounced it Long.
No,
Robert
he's wrong.
Long. I'm like,
that's just wrong.
Stop trying to be creative,
unless there's
dude.
an accent mark on it, or like, no, I still don't get it.
Yeah, stop trying to be creative.
Even French, that doesn't sound right. from Quebec.
Well, I think part of that is that there's people that come from other countries, especially in like leagues like that, where there isn't an exact interpretation of their name, so they just try to sound it out with letters, but then they just don't do it right. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if it's pronounced Long, spell it Long. You know? Anyway,
Yeah, we don't have to complicate things.
No, there's no need. It's unnecessary. But
silent letters be damned.
Let's get to the good shit.
Sorry.
Michelle, what does still fucking here mean to you?
I was thinking about this today because like I now have a life that I did not think was possible 4 years ago. The fact that I have my family together and that we've added to our family is something that I didn't believe that 4 years ago. I didn't think that was a possibility. I thought I was going to be divorced or have, a dead husband. And so we're still here. We're still here. Yeah. It was a rough time 4 years ago, but growth happens. And I think that's pretty cool.
I love that. So get into it. What 4 years ago was so significant that, had you believe you were going on such a different path?
So 2019, my husband got out of the military kind of quick. It wasn't something that he planned on doing. He wanted to be a lifer. He wanted to be a career 20-year plus kind of guy. But there a lot of stuff jacked up his career, and his choices were really limited. And so he made the best decision he could for our family, and that was to leave the military, instead of drag us out to the middle of Fort Irwin, where he wouldn't have a chance at promotion. I mean, it was just a mess. So he got out of school early, actually, and we moved back home to Pennsylvania. He, went through SFL TAP. He got a job. We were like the closest we've ever been to home. We were 2 hours away from home. I mean, as far as transition goes, it seemed pretty good. And then he hated the job that he had. It was like soul sucking, no purpose, whatever. And he did not adjust well to that. And then it was like one day a light switch just went off. Like he just like flipped a switch and he hated his life and was like, couldn't get out of bed. He wasn't coping with civilian life well. He reached out to the local VA, and he was reserve at the time. So he went from active into reserve, and they said, no, we can't help you because you're reserve. And they weren't like, here's some other resources that you could utilize. No, it was just like, done, you're done. So I had to find him a therapist. The therapist I found him, zero experience with military veterans. So he was just like, what is your problem? It's like, I don't know. So that did a lot of harm. And yeah, it was so bad. I found out that I was pregnant with my second son. And it's like, by the time I found out I was pregnant, to like him going into this depression was days. And so like, I was terrified to tell him that I was pregnant, because I thought like, and he's a good dad. Yeah. And
Or you
oh
were
my
scared
gosh.
it would seem like bad news to him.
Yeah, because he just like I could tell him that the sky was blue, and he would say like, "No, it's not." It's
Liar.
like, I mean, it was so wow. Depression is wild.
I was
um, but
exact.
yeah, it was like we were either going to get divorced or because we did not like each other. We could not get on the same page. It really was like living in
I
a different reality. And
yeah,
so I put
pins and
myself into,
needles.
yeah, and it's like you're not comfortable in your own home. Everything's miserable. I was trying to make life normal for my oldest son at the time. Um, but I was just like, I had to reframe my life like, okay, I am a single mom right now because it's how I need to cope. So I just left him out of the equation,
Yeah.
went on with my life, got myself into therapy. Um, and then he ended up coming to therapy with me, not before he signed up for a deployment without telling me.
Hmm.
um, but that like he needed that. He needed
Yeah.
service. Like
Go
he
back to
wasn't,
work too with the reserves.
yeah. Yeah. So and we got it together before he deployed, but it was a wild, like it was just nothing we expected.
Yeah.
It really was out of the blue. And
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to other people and they're like, yeah, we felt the same way. And I'm like, why don't people talk about this? It's kind of wild. Are you embarrassed? Like what? I mean, I had a hard time finding resources and I freaking have written research papers. Like, why is this so hard to find what I need? So
Mm-hmm.
it was a terrible time, but then he deployed during COVID and that was an interesting time. But now, he's full-time reserve. He's doing what he loves and I'm still here along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to work.
Part of my motivation in doing this podcast is that I've suffered through pretty debilitating depression and still do to this day. Is something that I'm constantly at war with myself over, and I make ground. I have good days, I have bad days. I mean, you probably have some understanding of that now, but I can only imagine. Me and my daughter, I hadn't seen my daughter in a little bit. She's here right now, actually sitting across from me. She's almost 21. She's my best friend. Our conversations, the depth of our conversations, I don't really share with many other people. And we were talking about this just the other night about how she has some understanding. Like she's definitely struggled with some of the things that I struggle with mentally. So, but even in that, it's really hard when you don't live in the same headspace as someone. So, like my son has Tourette's. Like it's hard to understand why he can't just stop doing what he's doing. And I'm sure from your perspective, especially with such a dramatic change in such a short amount of time, that it left you reeling as to why does he feel the way he feels? Why can't he just feel differently than he feels? Or why does he not feel comfortable in his own home? Or why can't he do the things or love the things that he used to love, and so on and so forth? So I can only imagine that from your perspective, that was completely foreign. And now I'm assuming if you guys have improved on that, he's gotten better, but you've probably also gotten a better understanding of what all that was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a
Well,
real
yeah.
eye opener for me. I mean, he and I have both dealt with depression off and on, but not to the point where like I would ever name it because I didn't know that's what it was. And
Right.
so, like especially, I mean, it's just different. Like whenever him and I first got together, he has a friend that was blown up like 4 days before my birthday. Okay.
Mm.
And so that date, every time it would come around, is like I didn't understand what headspace he was in for that. And I'm just like, this happened years ago. Like, why are we so but now I get it. Like
Right.
I there's so much to deal with whenever you're in this life that people on the outside really don't understand. And that's kind of like another layer of insulation that I was in is like my family just didn't get it because this is like, I mean, my family is farmers. Like you just suck it up and you go on with your life.
Yeah.
And so it really forced us to like come to a grinding halt and be like, whoa, we've got a big fucking problem here. And the only way to fix it is like to go forward or our life is done as we know it. So luckily, I mean, he wanted to do the work and I wanted to do the work, but it has been continuously evolving. the work doesn't just stop. Like, you don't
Right.
just get better, but I mean, we have our ups and downs, but without these experiences, I mean, we definitely wouldn't. I really, it makes our relationship so much deeper. And I see like other people, just like how, and I don't mean this negatively, but how shallow relationships can be.
Yep.
I mean
Whenever
that
you're not
negatively.
like in, when you're not in those pockets of like, of sorrow, and you're not trying to pull your spouse out of that, or your friends, it, I mean, life is really, really deep. And so now it's like, I can't have the same conversations that I've had with other people, because it's just, I see life so much differently now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you sort of brushed on this, but like, especially with men not being able to talk about these things, or sitting on these things, or not being able to process their feelings, and that mentality that your family shares of like, just put your head down and go to work, like, suck it up, buttercup shit, you know, like, it's another reason why this podcast was important to us, to be vulnerable and have these conversations, because there are men that suffer to the point that they break like that, because they're not able to process or talk about, or they don't have that depth with someone in their life in order to like process the shit that's going on, to where they get to the point that they're in bed and they can't go to work and they can't do, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why these conversations are so important, to see that, number one, it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be fallible, and to not be perfect, and to not, there's strength in admitting it and talking about it. There's strength in sharing these things with somebody. And it's okay to be broken. It's okay to be fucked up. It's okay to have problems. And there are ways you can work through them. I have to keep believing that, even though I still struggle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and it's just a matter of finding the right modality for you. I mean, the good thing is there's all sorts of treatment now, and it's becoming more talked about. But like,
Yep.
one of the things that I used to hear a lot is this is so new. I mean, people are just so weak. Like, there's so much more depression and stuff like that. And one day, I got out my Bible, and I was like, have you ever heard of Elijah? Because he literally was, his whole story was about him being so depressed that he had to lay down in the desert, and God had to bring him birds to feed him and keep him alive. Like, they literally wrote about that in ancient Israel, like, how many years ago? So if you're going to tell me that depression is new, it's just everybody, I mean, even moms, like, everybody, likes to get on mom's cases, but you know what? This isn't the 50s where everybody was on freaking Quaaludes, and just
when
we don't
Coca-Cola
prescribe
had
those
cocaine
anymore.
in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was say, yeah.
Hey, you got anxiety? Smoke a pack of cigarettes.
Well, no,
there's
or even older, man, you got ghosts in your blood. Do cocaine about it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, like, doctors were prescribing you like low dose heroin to get through the day.
I was saying laudanum. I was about to say laudanum. I was like, that was a huge problem in the Old West.
Yeah, we're like now we're out here, we're just raw dogging life and trying to get through it.
Ozempic is the one now. I've not seen so many Skeletor celebrities in ever. Every time I see someone's new picture, I'm just like, oh. Feed it now.
The other thing is, just to bring two things that you were talking about back together, is that like so you said he started this job and was completely miserable. I think a lot of people fall into that trap. And I would also connect that with the fact, when you talk about old relationships, our grandparents and shit, it was just so abnormal for them to leave. But could you say that most of them were truly happy? A lot of them were in fucking horrible, especially the women were in like servitude practically. Things were different then, and they didn't talk about that. And we're talking about it more, and they're definitely, especially among young people on TikTok, they're all afflicted with everything. They're depressed, they have anxiety, they have OCD, they have everything. ADD.
Autism.
It's like you're self-diagnosing yourself with a bunch of shit because it looks cool, whatever. But there are a lot of people on some type of spectrum for something. Most of us, probably all of us.
Well, that's why it's called a spectrum.
So it's not like, looking back to that and how it worked was fine, but it doesn't mean that's the best way. And I don't think where we're at today is either, but I think we're working towards that. I think there's still so little we understand about depression and anxiety and all these other things.
Well, a lot of stuff went way too far the other way.
Yeah.
Like with the whole like be wildly sensitive and no one is supposed to be like don't put too much on like no, let's talk about our feelings. Let's figure out what triggers are doing whatever it is so that we can be protected against the bad things, not so you can make the bad things not happen to me. Like, no, like I got to be prepared for this life anyways. I'm doing it. The only person I got to go to sleep to and wake up every night and morning is me. Like the rest of it will fade out eventually. But yeah, you got to be strong enough to handle all this shit. So there was the whole, you're not allowed to talk about it, rub some dirt on it. And, you know, not one of them would admit today that it wasn't the right thing because they've made it to 80. And like they're going to admit defeat now.
Yeah, I just
like, no, so much of it sucked, but it's what we had to do, make our paws proud. And I'm like, what? My dad's still proud of me, even though I talk about my feelings and smoke pot. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
And Michelle, you said something else that was really important: is that he and you were willing to do the work.
Bam! You both need to be willing to fight.
And but I mean, you in general, anybody, whatever you is, whatever thing it is you're afflicted with, or whatever you have a problem with, there's two things that you have to keep in mind. One, I may never fully get rid of my depression. I may always live with this thing. I can make it better, but I can also be aware of it so that when I have those downs, that I just know what it is. When I have those lows, I can say, I know what this is, and kind of put it in its place a little bit. But there is also the part that being willing to do the work can get you to a better place.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'll fill up your toolbox either way. So, I'm in this dark room I'm quite familiar with. So here's my Bic for now. Like until you can make it a freaking squad stove, you know, and you got more light. Like, you know, you fill up your toolbox. The things are going to we talk about trauma all the time. Trauma doesn't go away. Bad things that happen to you don't stop being bad things that happen to you. You just get better at carrying them.
Right.
Exactly.
You figure out the better, like, if I, you know, play video games and, you know, decompress a little bit. If I do this, if I work out regularly, if I add fiber to my diet, you know, you figure out how to carry all the stuff better.
It is freaking hard to be a human. I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday. Like, dude, it's so hard to be vigilant and just like eat well and, you know how that affects your mental health. Because I know if I don't get enough protein in my day, I have to have a very high protein diet or I like just don't feel well. Like my body doesn't feel well. I don't have mental clarity. And then I can get I get angry a lot.
Hangry.
Hangry. Yeah. But like, just like knowing how that works, knowing like you need to go get enough sunlight, you need to go get enough exercise, you need to do all this stuff. And this is stuff that past generations did naturally because they were doing farm work. They were doing gardening.
They weren't allowed to stay inside.
I mean, you had nothing better to do. Why do you think they had 8, 9 kids? But
working and boning.
Yeah, they were getting the vitamin D.
And then some.
It's a whole different world that we're living in. We're more aware of it all now, but it is hard to balance all those things. Even just the mental aspects of thinking through that shit. Like going to the grocery store for me is so much stress. I don't know if there's anything that gives me more anxiety than when I got to go shop for groceries because I don't know. I'm a terrible eater. I'm limited on funds. I don't make a lot of money, so I'm like trying to figure out how can I eat healthy but also afford to eat. So it's but to like go back to your point, like being able to balance all that and being a partner and being a parent and being, you know, having a job and supporting and all these things that you're supposed to do. It's insane.
Single parent of 2 kids is no fun. Like preach. I feel you on that one. But yeah, your willingness to just be like, all right, he's sick right now. So I have to pull 100% until we get him better. Like that particular thing, that stuck out pretty hard when you were talking about that earlier. The fact that you were just like, all right, instead of just everything being woe is me, my husband won't help me, my husband's doing this, my husband's a problem. You're just like, oh, well, he's not himself right now. So I've got to carry everything for at least a little bit. And then that wasn't even when you'd gotten to the point of shit or get off the pot, like, you know, where something has to happen or we're done.
Mm-hmm.
But
like I really had to
you were
about
real
what my
one from
life
the
would look
beginning.
like. Well, I mean, either way, I felt like I could be a single mom. You know what I mean? Like we were either going to get divorced or, you know, a worse outcome. So
I'll start
I was like,
practicing now.
I might as well get it together now. And that's like such a dark thought to have to think. And that in itself was traumatizing. I mean, nobody wants to think about that. But like coming home from the grocery store sometimes, or like on weekends, or like if I took my son out, I'd just be like, oh man, what am I going to walk into?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
wading
luckily
through a
it was
fog.
fine, but that was really, really tough. That was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people too, whenever I'm like, hey, you need to go to therapy, or, you know, I kind of get them to come around. I'm like, healing, don't think this is a quick fix, and don't think that it's going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like healing is one of the hardest things that I've had to do, because it requires you to take a really good look in the mirror and look exactly what's wrong with you. Because
a lot of swallowing some pride.
You have to be humble. Because if you're going to fix something, you've got to admit that it's wrong. And that was one of the biggest things for us to get through that period of time. Is I had to go to therapy, and I had to say, what do I need to do to be able to support him better? Because I'm not equipped right now. I have no idea what to do. And that was a big humble pie for me.
Heck,
I mean,
my marriage swung the exact opposite way, and we got divorced because when we went to therapy, when it got to that point, she was trying to use the therapist as a mediator to confirm her opinions of me. Instead of trying to work on herself, she wasn't willing to do the work. She wanted to come in and shout out all the crap that I was doing wrong and hoped that this person sitting across would go, yeah, you're right, he sucks. You know what I'm saying? And when it didn't work that way, she split.
Yeah.
So I kept going for a year. I'm a big proponent of therapy, more than Ty. Ty had a couple bad experiences. But that's
my
the thing.
left nub. Sorry, Carrie, that's a whole different podcast.
But that's the thing, though, is that I think people need to understand is that every therapist isn't your perfect therapist either. You might have to go through more than one. You might have to go through
field.
Exactly, before you
Absolutely
figure out the
play the
person
field.
that clicks with you.
Yeah.
Yep. My husband and I are just talking about this today, because I need to go back into therapy, because I've just had a lot of issues come to the surface where I'm like, okay, I'm at a place where like I'm ready to solve them and work through them. It is exhausting finding a therapist. And what if it's a lot. It's another mental load that you have to carry, but it is so important. And I just know, like, getting through big chunks of like trauma and like resolving some of that for myself is one of the best gifts that I could give myself and my kids. Like, I'm not a perfect mom, but we do have a lot of generational trauma between my husband and I that we have to break. And boy, it's a lot of work, but it is going to pay dividends.
The quote that says, it used to run in my family till it ran into me, kind of lives right here in my chest plate when it comes to the fact that I don't drink alcohol. I don't put hands on them. Not that my parents beat the shit out of me, but the times I earned it. But some people would have been mad. But yeah, I always like that quote. I want to make that shit into a shirt.
I got the Scooby-Doo belt across my ass a couple times when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was.
I deserved it.
Choked against the wall was always Dad's move.
Michelle, you were saying how it's not a quick fix, and I've said this analogy on the podcast, but I love it, and I'll reuse it a lot over the years, I'm sure. When I went to my first therapist, we went together, and she left, and I kept going for like a year, and I'm getting to this point, like several months in, where I'm like, I love talking to this girl, but I don't know if I'm getting better, and I brought that up with her. I was like, I like these sessions. I'm happy to come see you, but what's the point, kind of? And she gave me the greatest analogy. She said, you're going down a dark tunnel in your life, and I'm holding the flashlight, but you're leading the way. And I'm like, that's so brilliant. And it made me realize that I was the one doing the work and the one that had to do the work. And when I started to feel something and I started to feel better, and I was like, this is actually doing something, the pride that I had for the fact that I knew I had done that work was also another turning point and another point that brought me even further out of the rut that I was in. You all right, Ty? Did you lose sound?
I can't hear you if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah. Unplug and plug back in, bro. Great podcasting. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Anyway, I just thought that was a cool analogy. It was something that I felt like it gave me a better understanding of therapy. So I feel like when people go in, if they have that in mind, you know, that you've got to go in and do the work, and this person's going to help you do the work. They're going to give you methods, but they're not there to solve your problems. They're not there to do it all for you.
Yeah. And they're not even there to like affirm what you already believe. Like sometimes they're going to make you mad because they're going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. But I mean, we all have to face uncomfortable truths sometimes.
That's true. If you want to get anywhere, for sure. I've said forever to my kids, like solving most of your problems with someone else or with yourself happen in a mirror. And I mean, even culturally, when you talk about black versus white and left versus right, it all happens in a mirror, dude. If we're ever going to get better, it happens in a mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And whenever you start to heal, you can see the unhealed parts of other people. And so I used to be like so angry and so rattled about everything. Like, I mean, I'm a very confrontational person. I'm the youngest of 4 girls, so I have like no problem standing up for myself. But the more that I healed, like now, if somebody's upset about something, especially, you know, with family and sisters, we're always going to run our mouth about something. But we had an issue a couple months ago, and I'm just like, I see that unhealed part of you that needs like is tender and it needs loved. And so I can respond with that. But a lot of people don't, they're just triggered by your healing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just got an echo in my...
Yeah, Ty's struggling over here.
Sorry. If y'all can hear me, I'm sorry. I'm trying. Check.
Yeah. We'll give him a second. I told him just to restart, reconnect.
I'm just tap out once. I'm going to come out and come back in.
It's just funny to say it and then he says it because he can't hear us. That's adorable. Anyway, yeah, it is funny too to like look at. It's so easy when you find some level of emotional intelligence that the average person doesn't have to like you said, observe, see it in other people in a sense, even with relationships and things that nothing. You probably need to restart your shit, son. Can you hear now?
Check.
Can you hear?
Good to go?
Yes. So mine, I just got restart your computer. Sorry.
Oh,
do you want me to do that still?
No, wait. Ty's recording will continue on a new track. Started a new recording for out. You're good. No, it's fine. That's how it does it. Every time,
okay.
You know what? When other people have problems and they tap out and back in, then I get a separate track. It's fine.
I missed the whole quote and everything. As soon as you said the quote that I will reuse forever is...
The quote was I've said it. You've heard it before.
I'm sure.
Where she had said, "I'm going down a dark tunnel. I'm leading the way, but she's holding the flashlight."
Yeah, that was her purpose. The flashlight one. Good nuggets.
Yeah, and then we were on to talking about how once you start to kind of figure out some of your own things, you sort of see it in other people, and like
You can understand people and why they're doing what they're doing because, oh, maybe their dad hit them too. Like, I'm sorry, I just took that and ran with it. It's a thing I tend to do considering I don't have legs.
Your
That's
shit.
odd.
We missed most of it because your shit cut out halfway through your rant. Your shit went burnt and just was gone. No audio.
Yay!
But you looked adorable while you were over there fucking flapping your gums with nothing coming out.
I'm turning the fan on then. If you can't hear me, anyways.
Well, I can hear you now.
Back. Huh? Well, give me 1 second then. I'm sweating. I don't know why this fan isn't on. I'm sorry. If we're
right. Do your thing. We're as professional as it gets around here.
It's all good.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of the reason we started this whole thing to have these conversations with people because it kind of started. So SFH is about survivors, essentially, you know, like survivors of addiction, survivors of having your limbs blown off in Afghanistan, depression, whatever. And we really, I mean, you think about it, everyone's a survivor. Like literally every human being is a survivor on one level or another.
Facts.
And has a story. So it's like we started this whole thing to have these conversations and bring up this shit in hopes that I know for me, like I'm more of he's the happy, lost his limbs, couldn't be happier. I'm intact and depressed all the time, which I thought was an important dynamic because it's hard for me to relate to somebody like Ty. Like I couldn't watch two Ties on a podcast. I'd be like, you don't speak to me.
Yeah. I don't speak this language.
Yeah. You got to speak to me from this language.
I also know that I'm a weirdo when it comes to half of this shit anyways. It's not a competition. That's always the problem. No one wants to talk to me about their problems because they're like, well, half of them are things that are in here and the other half are things that I created out here because of all of that. Like I can't talk to this dude who has to deal with having one freaking limb about problems when all mine are in my head. And I'm like, that doesn't make them fake. Like that doesn't make them not real. It's not a competition. I didn't have to go through a lot of stuff that people went through. Thank God on a lot of fronts. But yeah, that's the main thing. People always never want to talk to me. They clam up. They'll talk to Zach real quick though.
You're like, hey, fat, sad kid. Here's my problems.
You got your own problems, you'll get it. you probably have similar issues. I get it.
So what little I did read about you, because Lance will throw a little card from LinkedIn, I suppose, that kind of gives a little synopsis of stuff. But you have an organization now that kind of tries to connect people with resources that you had a hard time finding, correct?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so we pivoted a little bit. Yeah, kind of, but we do things a little bit differently now because we focus on rural veterans.
Okay.
So whereas whenever we first started, we started Veteran Help Point because we couldn't find the resources that we needed. And I was like, just trying to boil the ocean, get all these small resources in there that we vet personally. People can find them no matter where they are, but really thinking about the rural areas that don't have, are driving 2 hours to a VA.
Right.
But we rebranded in June to focus only on rural veterans, and we changed the way we do it. So we have resources still, but they're mostly virtual resources that people can use anywhere. And just it's more focused on thriving. Like, how can we get you to thrive where you're at? I don't believe in this woe is me things. Veterans have so many resources available to them to just like knock it out of the park with life. I don't like the attitude that like, woe is me, life sucks, because there's people out there to talk to. There's resources out there to help you succeed. You have tax advantages, you have real estate advantages, you have financial advantages. So use them. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love that. That's actually really smart. And as you know from your experience, we've talked about this with several veterans on the show. The transition a lot of these men and women have when they come back to civilian life is very difficult for them. Oftentimes, going from that's because people are. You don't generally. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't join the military because of cool college breaks or whatever the hell they're offered at the time. Sometimes people do it because they don't think they have another choice. But oftentimes people that join the military, especially those that want to stay in and be a lifer, they're built for that. Like that's what they're built for. So once they stop, it's very hard for them to transition, lose the brotherhood of it all, lose the connection that they had with the people, and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I'm not a veteran, so I don't know much about the resources for those types of things. So like all that you're saying to me is new. I'm sure Ty's familiar with much of it.
I mean, a lot of people aren't, so I don't know. It's a very convoluted world. There's 44,000 nonprofits in existence right now that just serve veterans. Okay. So a lot of them are not great actors. A lot of them are.
Yeah, we're aware of some of those.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you sift through that? How do you even find them whenever you're not starting a nonprofit mostly to get rich? So you're bootstrapping everything. You probably don't know about SEO. You probably don't know how to build your website. You probably don't know how to market yourself, blah, 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 blah. So how do you even freaking find these on Google? You don't.
Yeah.
They solely rely on word of mouth, things like that. So I really enjoy sharing new information with veterans and spouses and even active duty. I'm just like, there's so much for you to take advantage of, dude. Like, just go do it. And it is free. So like, why not?
Well,
I was going to say something that real quick. Sorry, brother.
Go ahead.
There's something that vets end up doing a lot when they get out is one, obviously y'all seemed a little different where it would have probably been tattoos and COVID and a bunch of bullshit like bureaucracy that had him kind of muscled out. But a lot of guys will, I hate this, 4 years is up. Oh my God, get me out. And then at no point will they have made a plan about where the heck they're going. Like most people don't get out abruptly. Like you have a 4-year contract and then a year before that's up, you are signing up for more or starting the process of getting out. Like the process to get out is not, oh, time's up. There's the gate. Bye. Like there's a whole thing. There's classes. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. And guys, gals too, I imagine. I've only ever had experience with the fellas in the infantry there. But they just, during SEPs and TAPs and all the classes that they give you to help prepare you, resume classes, all kinds of stuff that they'll try to school you up on and spin you up on before you hit the door. And they can't get out of that class fast enough. Don't take a single note. Don't take a single flyer. Don't write nothing down. Don't save nothing in their phone. Don't put a single URL anywhere. Like, what are you doing? Like, you understand that you're about to hit the ground and that ground is cooking. Like, you need to get a pace going. What's wrong with you? And I tell them every single time, if 4 is it or 8 is it and you're done, start making a plan at 2.5, at 6.5. Like, make sure you have something going on. Like, if it's,
you need 2 years to transition well.
Give or take at least, like, if it's trying to set up a job or a place or just something for wherever you're trying to land. But like, even them, if that mindset, the military mindset is we're going to go to this AO and we are the area of operation and we're going to use these tools and this many people in this vehicle to destroy these motherfuckers this way. Like they have a whole freaking plan. There's an entire battle plan. There's names for the type of reports that need to be made so the battle plan exists. And then they get out and they don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, oh yeah, I just go ask someone inside that brick building if I can work there and they'll pay me. Like, what?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like,
put your thumb out of your ass and pay attention a little bit.
Yeah. Our attitude was, we can handle anything. We've always figured it out because it doesn't matter. Your next duty station, well, they're not paying me. Okay, well, go down to finance. Okay, you need to go talk to S3. You need to go talk to all the S's. Just get it out of the way. But
S1 through 6, go.
Yeah. But when you get to the real world, it's just like, oh, shit. there. I mean,
Oh.
you are on your own, and there is not a like commander you can call up to help. But there is like there's mentors that you can reach out to. But we
There's
didn't
no
know
set
anything.
chain of command, so you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any clue where to go with what.
And it feels very like, and I even struggle. I didn't realize it at the time, but like, I was fighting, like getting into the military spouse community really because I was bitter about having to move up to the frickin' frozen tundra of Fort Drum, and
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
throw away my career.
Deepest condolences.
Yeah, and I couldn't get a job. I could only get hired at Zales, and I'm like, dude, I went to a freaking liberal arts college. Like,
why you
I
put
was
me in
just-
this military town? They don't like
why
liberal
am
arts
I here?
stuff.
I was lying on all my resumes. I was like, yes, I have lived here for 10 years because they don't want to hire military spouses because they know you're going to leave.
Right.
Yeah, they know you're done in a couple years. Yeah, that's right next. That's near Buffalo, right?
It's 3 hours north of Buffalo,
Give or take.
So,
yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
north.
That's
New
damn
York.
near Canada.
we were
Yeah,
45 minutes from Canada. Yeah,
there's
hour.
only a couple bases farther north in the continental U.S. and not North Dakota is the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah, Fort Wainwright, I think, gets the coldest, but Fort Drum gets the most snow. And like one time, I remember it just freaking snowed all winter, and these people don't call off work for anything. Like it does not matter. They literally was just like, "Are you coming into work?" So at this point, I was working at an insurance agency. Well, yeah, that was a wild time. But I was working for an insurance agency, and I was literally shoveling I had a Hyundai Tucson at the time, and it was like halfway up my car. I had to shovel myself out of that to get to work, and like they were like, "Why are you late?" I'm like, "Bro, do you not see the freaking blizzard that I had to drive through to get here?" It's like, no, there's no excuses. People,
I'm not a native. Sorry.
Like,
sorry.
I'm from
I'm
Pennsylvania,
over here
but
laughing in Floridian. Like I'm just snow. It snowed twice here, and not since '89 twice. One of them was in '89.
Yeah, but you guys have like the snow kills all the nasty bugs. Like you guys, I can't.
Oh, dude, I need a hard freeze every year, and that's yes, you right. That's funny. You know the secret. If we don't get a hard freeze or two, the next summer, oh my God, skeeters on roids. Like they're already Floridian ones, but then you got ones that survived the freaking the almost freezing. Like,
Three words.
I will suck your blood.
3 words. Fuck palmetto bugs.
Flying cockroaches. Come on. Who
Fuck
doesn't like
those
flying
big,
cockroaches?
disgusting.
Yeah. They're
flying
bigger than normal cockroaches.
They're disgusting.
That is
They're
average
horrible.
sized, give or take. And of course, they fly.
They're
We are the
horrible.
Australia of America.
The family I used to live with keeps a very clean house, nice house, spray for bugs, do all that shit. But my fridge was in the garage. So during certain times of the year, palmetto bugs would end up in the garage. And one night I went out to get like a frozen pie or something, a frozen pizza, and throw it in the oven. And one ran up my fucking bare foot, dude.
No.
Yeah. I'm so glad I turned them motherfuckers in.
I'm a 6'2" man, but I fucking squealed like a girl and ran like I was running through a fucking spider web in Indiana Jones. It was awful, dude.
That's terrible.
I got to look cool when a wolf spider hit me in the chest one time, but I've been around people who have a whole skits out over roaches, but yeah, the wolf spider's fine.
No, one time when we lived in Georgia, there was one. So they move slower whenever they're poisoned, So that's like the worst. Like it didn't stop them from coming into our house; it just slowed them down.
Just
so
made them drunk.
I would just put Tupperware container on top of it, and I'm like, that's staying there until my husband goes home.
Yeah. You put a brick on top of that Tupperware.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no one touched that. That's just like leaking pots. You don't touch that until the rain stops. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So I was going to say a few minutes ago, and then we got sidetracked. You said there's 44,000 organizations, and I don't even want to start on why why I think that some of it annoys me that we have to rely on the charity of other people in order for veterans to be taken care of in certain ways in this country. Sort of irritates me, but we could go on about that forever. But another thing I always think about, because we work with so many people in these organizations on the show, I feel like sometimes people get like charity organization fatigue. And I'm from what I'm understanding, what you guys do is you kind of show them the way to the right ones, right? Correct? So like instead of wasting their time with one of the ones that isn't a good actor, you're sort of like separating that out and finding the ones that are actually going to do for them, correct?
Yeah.
That's so fucking useful. And again, in this world where it does feel like everywhere you go, there's 20 organizations that want money donated to them for various veteran causes. And people are willing to donate, but man, like there's only so much to go around and only so many times you can get someone to donate to 10 different organizations or whatever.
And a lot of people get ensnared by ones that can afford the commercials.
Right.
We won't name names with their Super Bowl commercials and their celebrity endorsements.
I think you just named names, but it's fine.
And the fact that they've helped about 8.5 people ever, but take in millions of dollars a year.
I know, but if you do your books right, those grants are going to keep coming in, and that's how it works.
My heart. But that's what SFH hopes to do. We hope that we can eventually what they do. You knew what I meant, you whole people. We hope to be kind of like a, hey, who's good for this? And be like, oh, talk to this charity because we vetted the shit out of them. Like, because we end up doing 50% always goes to a charity. So and then that charity changes. So the 50% will go this month to, breast cancer awareness type charities and things like that. And we've got our foot in the door with a few that I'm really excited about in human trafficking, actually. But the veteran organizations were the ones who found us pretty quickly because me and Lance are vets. So they swarmed to his halfness who won't stop smiling. But we hope to be that as well. We want to be a hub where people can just be like, oh, dude, who do they support? Because we know it's good if they support it, kind of thing. If
it helps let's do it. Eliminate people's mental load. Like, that's what they need.
Yeah, just tell me which one's good, please. I want to help vets with, and like with that too, vets with housing or schooling, or there's a million different things within eeach one.
Yeah.
I want to help the hungry kids.
And particularly with depression, it's got such a built-in what's the word I'm looking for? It basically stops you from doing things that would make it go away. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're in this horrible mental space and you're supposed to get help, even if you give them the link, it's going to be hard for them to click the fucking link.
Yes.
Much less for them to do the research and go find the right place to click the link.
Exactly. That's why. So we changed the way we do resources now. So we've pared it way down. I still want to have about 50 to 100 resources on there. So like we're paring it way, way down compared to what we had. But like I make contact with each of these resources. I talk to the CEO. I talk to whoever, PR, whoever. I have them make a video. And so they get on there and they say who they are, how they serve rural veterans, and where rural veterans can go to be served by them. So that way you have these 3 points that somebody needs to talk to. It gives them the information they need. It starts that thread of trust to be like, hey, there's a real person behind this organization that actually wants to help me. And then they can go and they can research it on themselves, or they can just click the contact button and take it right there. So, I mean, we're really trying to eliminate what we can mentally to make this as easy for people to get help because my vision is, so we have 4 different pillars that we work off of. So the resources is a pillar, and then we have an online community. So it's the first ever online community for rural veterans where you can go and talk to subject matter experts. So we have a homesteading subject matter expert. We have a millennial veteran expert. We have financial literacy. We have VA loans and real estate. We're going to be adding fitness and nutrition, because if you live in a rural area, your grocery store probably sucks. So how do you find nutritious food? You probably don't have a gym that's 24/7 access, if you even have a gym there. So how are you working out and how are you staying healthy? All these things that we're thinking about towards, geared towards the rural community. Jobs. That's another pillar, is how can we get these guys and girls jobs that they want, that they can make money at, because veterans are really, really, really good workers. They are
Got
ethical.
the work ethic for sure.
Yes, they have work ethic. They have morals. They are trustworthy, especially according to the public. I mean, not every veteran is a good person, but
Right.
By and large, the veteran community are probably a safer bet.
yeah. So
Basically,
how can we get them
yeah.
connected with meaningful rural employment? How can we get them
Yeah, not to
connected
say
with
all of them.
entrepreneurship? So that's another pillar. And then our fourth pillar is in-person events, which is basically these festivals that I throw where I bring in resources. I bring in, we have concerts, we have date nights, we have a golf tournament, kids games, craft vendors, food trucks. So it's like a whole day of festival for just rural veterans and their families in the community, because the other issue is the community doesn't know how to support rural veterans. And it's not just hanging a banner on Main Street that says, "Hey, thank you for your service," because
Yellow
most
ribbon
people
around
that
the old oak tree.
exactly. So I mean, when people they want to help but they don't know how, so how can we
Yeah.
show them how to help? And it's just like, here's the resources. Keep them in your back pocket, or keep my website in my back pocket. So now I have
Yeah.
civilians that reach out to me. It's like, hey, my coworker's struggling. Hey, my whatever son is struggling. What do I do? Okay, easy enough. We have resources for that. Before, what would they have done?
That done.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's that's brilliant. That sounds so useful.
Hell yeah.
That sounds like such a useful thing. One of the things, just talking through, like, obviously you've reached out to these CEOs and the people that and been directly involved with them to find out where they're coming from. But it's just been eye-opening for me because I wasn't around much of the charity community, I suppose, veteran and non-veteran. But doing this podcast, we're 40-something episodes in, and how many people we've met on here that are just incredible people who are doing it for the right reason, who do care. There are plenty of people who do give a shit, and they care beyond themselves. It's not what they're getting out of it. It's that it's useful for them to help other people because that's what they want to do, and that's important to them.
Yeah. That's why I always say, like, sometimes I feel like I have a really unfair advantage because, I get to talk to all these really amazing people all the time. Every week I'm on a meeting with somebody doing amazing things that are like, way bigger than me. It's just incredible. And it's so inspiring to be able to talk to these people and see what they're doing and just, point people to them or help them. It's beautiful. There's really like this whole network of fantastic people that the average person doesn't get to see because they are behind the scenes. And I'm so lucky. I've been so inspired and like blessed to get to work with some of these people.
That speaks to me. Sorry, that speaks to me because one of the things that there's a lot of reasons why I don't regret what happened to me and the life I currently have to live. But one of them being I've had the absolute opportunity to meet some of the most amazing people ever. People who saw a problem in whatever it was, be it veteran stuff or any other charity, and just, you know what? That won't be a problem as long as I can help it. And they, found the resources, got the people together, made an organization, and said, that, don't worry about it. I got it now. They're the heroes. Everyone wants to freaking shake what's left of my hand and call me something, but I'm excited about the people I've gotten to know in this life. And then this dude, this is my firstborn.
What's up?
You stay there? All right, cool.
I have mine all locked out. They're
I
feral.
try. He's the only one here. His sister's at dinner with a friend, so I was like, I can't have him not have access to me.
Mine are so feral. It's this is an unpredictable mess. They might be naked. I mean, it's just wild here.
We're going streaking through the quad.
Yeah. When we first moved here, we moved out to the country because I'm a rural person.
Yeah.
I like my space. And this is a relatively new, like, rural development. We had people, I invited, like, my neighbors to my kids' birthdays. All my kids' birthdays are summer babies. And they came over and they're like, hey, should we get you guys clothes? Because your kids never have any. So I didn't know. I didn't know if you guys needed clothes. I'm like, shut up.
Oh, dude, my daughter, people think she doesn't own shoes. She's feral as they come when it comes to wearing the shoes outside. It's cold. Are they okay?
It's
I'm
healthy.
like, if her feet are cold, she'll come back inside. It's healthier because feet aren't shaped like shoes.
Yeah. grounding, get that. Yeah, you're supposed to be. You're supposed to stand outside. Thing. Yeah, we let our kids. We're just watch out for dog poop, and if you have a problem with the dog poop, then you should pick it up. So that's our oldest.
Yeah, I was gonna say pick it up or put on shoes. It's up to you. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But how you going through this life if you never stepped on a roofing nail? Come on.
Ugh. Huh? We try to avoid tetanus.
Well, yeah,
I'm pretty good.
Nice
I'm pretty good not stepping on a roofing nail. I think I'll be all right living without that.
I would have been pretty good not doing it myself, but here we are.
Ugh.
And not even in the top 10 worst things I've ever stepped on. Yeah, sorry.
I'd say 1 through 9 are the IED.
Well, it was each pound of the IED probably. Since it was 10 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
No, she can't. Please
1
stop.
through 10 of the worst things.
But one of the things you brought up earlier, before I asked her the question, because I know that I had time cut off. We're probably around. Where are we at on time?
55. Man? We're getting pretty close.
All right, cool. One of the things you brought up earlier, that due to technical difficulties, so this might be kind of out of nowhere, but you're talking about the TikTok generation and the self-diagnosing and all that other stuff, and why that is it's so infuriating. Because again, I can't hide when I go out in the world. My son's on the spectrum, happens to be autistic. Don't care. It's not a shirt he's going to wear through this life, but people put it together pretty quickly.
And there went your audio. Yo. We have no audio. Can't hear you. You have no audio. I didn't make your audio stop. Wait. What is your... You need to fucking restart your computer every now and again, fool. I got nothing.
You got problems.
While you try to figure that out, I'm going to say something else I was going to say. We had a guest on, a psychologist who was 30 years in, and he worked with the Mental Health Coalition. He worked with social media companies. It was a really great guest. Probably my favorite episode. This was just a few weeks back. And when we asked him the question that Ty's about to ask, his answer was, thank you. And he was like, not a lot of people are willing to do what you guys are doing, and you are making the world a better place. And I wish I could play that for you, for what you do. And I wish I could play that for most of our guests, because I feel like that's the thing, is that the people... You got anything? Okay. I feel like that's the thing, is that none of us are here for that pat on the back, but being validated and understanding that I see you. I see what you're doing. You're a good person, and you are making the world a better place. And I felt good hearing that, and I think you need to hear that.
Well, thank you.
I too have eyes, and I see you.
It's the nonprofit world. Can be very draining. Really, really draining. Especially like most nonprofits don't make it through the first year. The average regular business lasts 3 years. So we are coming up on 3 years here. I just want to my goal, my vision for this is so big. I really want to revitalize rural America, and therefore revitalize America through the use of rural veterans and their families. I want to make them mentally well, spiritually, financially. I want to make them happy mentors in their community, pillars of their community.
The next
and just
greatest
go
generation.
out. Like the new old frontier right now is rural America. People are choosing to go there, but there's not a lot there. COVID really tore everything down. And I think we have a really, really cool opportunity right now to revitalize a lot of these towns that have been just like crippled by COVID. And I think we can do that with rural veterans very easily. There's so many tools available to them, like buying businesses. I know a great nonprofit that's what they do, is they pair veterans with businesses to buy. It's so cool, because so many boomers, okay, are retiring and they don't have anyone to take over their businesses. So they're selling them to these larger companies. So this guy comes in and teaches veterans how to buy these smaller businesses and run them so that way they can be successful entrepreneurs. And a lot of this is happening in rural America. So it's like that's
and keeping those businesses community businesses instead of being
yes.
corporate run.
Which is super rad anyway.
These small businesses are the ones that are sponsoring little league teams. They're sponsoring t-ball teams. You know, that like if I want to get donations from a corporation for my festival, gosh, I have to 6 months out, fill out a form, hope they see it. Da da da. Otherwise, I could talk to somebody that's in the community that has a vested interest in rural veterans doing well, that wants to help me fund that event. They get their name on it. They get the pride of helping rural veterans. It's like, that's what it's all about. And that's what small towns are all about. I'm from a town where I have more cows than people in our county. And I tell you, when somebody gets sick, I know the casseroles that people are going to bring to them. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing like small towns. And I just think there's an opportunity right now to really let them shine and let people be happy in these areas where they want to be.
Well, and there's two things that makes me think of. One is, I don't know if you ever thought of, one thing that worries me is looking forward, and I'm not a war person. It's not like I want us to be at war, but I also know our role in the world. Our military is very important, and it worries me looking to the kids, the woke kids, the kids on social media, that what is our military going to be like? But I've always felt some comfort in the rural communities. So you working on building that up there, it just improves that predicament as well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just going to create.
Right now, there's so many people. I forget what the percentage is, but there's like a very high percentage of teenagers that are unfit for service, and it's the highest it's ever been.
Like 60-something%.
Yeah, it's really, really scary. I mean,
some horribly high number ineligible to sign up even if they wanted to.
Yeah, and kind of luckily, like, warfare is changing, so it's a lot. There are some aspects that can be a lot hands off now,
Right?
As far as drones and things like that. But I mean, you still need manpower, and
I was gonna say either way, you still there still needs to be boots on the ground somewhere.
Yeah,
but I see our future in those rural communities, not in the cities. I don't see it the kids that go to college. But the other part to it was, I like that you're shining a positive light on rural communities, because, and I'm not on the political spectrum, left or right. I don't care. I don't even want to have that discussion. But the narrative of that the people who voted Donald Trump in are just dumb people from the rural communities bothered me, because I know a lot of smart people from the rural community, and maybe they don't have a college education, but they're smart as fuck. Yeah. And they also have life experience that you might not get at a 4-year college. So,
right. I
just feel like that's another positive part to it that I like, because I grew up in a rural community.
But I always, and I still see it on the internet occasionally, where people, especially on Reddit, because Reddit's just full of turds, but they think that farmers are so stupid, and I'm like, you have no idea what it takes to run a farm. No idea.
The resolve alone,
it's crazy.
It would make me I would never say a crossword about a farmer anyways.
No.
But in farming, ranching, any of that stuff, the resolve to succeed for the sake of your family alone, like work ethic aside, all the other shit aside, I've never fuck with those people. Like,
no.
It is a deeply impressive quality for anyone to have.
Yeah,
and,
they might not
the
talk
rural
fancy,
community has that shit in spades.
Yeah. My dad, so they were dairy farmers, and my dad's side of the family, I think, were dairy farmers since we came over here from Germany. And when he was 5, he got his foot stuck in a combine and got some toes ripped off. And he, went on to be a state champion wrestler, football player, full ride scholarship to Rider University. He had to quit. He had to drop out of school because his mom died. And so he had to take over the family farm.
Yeah.
That man is so smart, gave up everything to work the farm. He knows how to be a mechanic. He can be an engineer. He can, obviously ag science, livestock, like there's nothing I think that he can't do. It's incredible. And then he went on to win, national awards for his crops. Like that's what farmers do. They adapt, they're resilient, and they're so smart. I mean, you have to work on $1 million equipment. Because you probably can't afford to take it to
exactly. I was going to say we have to make this work for the next 40 or so years. Like it can't be broken. Sorry.
Just because people don't talk smart doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, they're some of the smartest people you'll ever know. My uncle, very successful. My great uncle, he had an 8th grade education, owned an IGA, several businesses. Same with a couple other people in town. It's just like they figure it out.
Well, for one thing, you can educate yourself where you need to be educated without school.
Yeah.
I mean, besides homeschooling, being an autodidact and learning, I know a lot of things about a lot of things that I took on myself. And I think something else to point out here is that whether you're an MMA fighter or you're a pro athlete or a musician or a farmer or whatever, a lot of times people who love something become a freak about that thing. So when you farm, and especially when it's a family business that you've learned to be an excellent farmer, and then you've taken over the farm and your kids learn to be excellent farmers and they take over the farm, that has nothing to do with intelligence or not. You just dedicated your life to being great at one really important thing that you love.
I mean, no one ever looked down on the samurai for doing it. Like, so you devote your entire day to one thing. That wasn't a wasted day, as far as I'm concerned.
But it doesn't say anything about your intelligence or not, in my opinion, because MMA fighters someone might think they're dumb, but they're just dedicated to the thing that they love and they put all their time and effort in. Some of them are really intelligent, some of them are not.
I mean, and what's different between that and a PhD? They know everything about that.
Right. What discipline they went to school for.
Yeah, whatever they have a PhD in. They know all the stuff about that. But I guarantee you, I know a shit ton of stuff they probably don't know. Like, I mean, it comes down to how many files you open and how much information you put in each file kind of thing.
And there's a difference between knowledge and intelligence. I mean, they're two different things.
I think people are just more... The general population that lives in cities, I think, are more likely to look down on people that have dirt underneath their fingernails, whether that's a mechanic, because
they were taught to
a lineman. Not knowing, like, I mean, you can't fix your own car,
right?
Yeah, let any 1 to 3 unions go on strike, and watch how quickly all these city slickers freak the fuck out. Like, what do you mean this isn't like, why is the electricity not working? I was like, well, the fella that the folks up there, they stopped because no one gave a shit about them.
It's just that typical like elitist mentality and that people in general are tribal. So you live in a city and you're among this or you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that farmers do it too. They do it to city people. Everybody kind of does that to a degree where you get in your little club and everybody outside of your club sucks and they got to win you over,
Yeah.
But it would be better if in general we could all just appreciate people for what they did, including whatever your stupid hobby is or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't all have to like and do the same shit. We all have a role.
I really think if people turn off the TV, because honest to God, whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not, I'm not going there, but like Hollywood really, really influences the way people think. So, I mean, there is not, and I am hyper aware of this now. I'll watch TV shows every once in a while. I'll notice if they have a veteran on that TV show, how unhinged he is. how he's the one that's shooting up the place. He's the one that's having mental breakdowns. He's the one that can't function because he has PTSD. There are no TV shows that I currently watch, except for Virgin River. But even then, we still had a veteran that was a murderer on there that portray veterans in a light where they are good, hardworking people or just average.
I never
fuckers.
thought of that.
Like, I mean, you are unhinged.
Yeah.
And
or you have some super secret squirrel training that's going to get unleashed at some point because it's who you are.
And so, like,
the Virgin
River.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, I like that's like
you
a little.
You can like it all you want. I saw a picture that made me uncomfortable. I never seen the show once, but the main dude with the hair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what his name is, but that guy, he's a something. Because he was wearing dress blues in a picture on the internet, and the collar, the entire Adam's apple being open on Marine Corps dress blues made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like, it's so easy. It's got a hook on it, bro. I know you felt that shit on your neck. It's got a hook. Fucking hook it. Like, have you ever seen a Marine with their whole neck exposed? That's why we wear it, so you don't get your neck chopped with a sword.
I don't. Sorry. There's some things that I don't watch with my husband because we'll go through a movie and be like, pause. Do you see those ribbons there? I'm just like, don't care about the ribbons. Bro.
I don't do the ribbons. I don't do the ribbons in this. I used to be that because ribbons aren't supposed to be worn right if they didn't earn them anyways, kind of thing. So I can live with it. But like tactics and stuff, I'm like, that's bullshit. Why is their elbow like that? Like, what? That's not a thing. Why are they looking in the scope while they're inside the building?
Yes, it's like every single thing. We went to a ball last year.
Oh, no, the balls.
We haven't been to a ball in forever. But I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. You guys are going up to each other and fixing your bow ties and making sure your ribbons are nice and your shoes are shiny enough. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
When you say it like that, a uniform inspection sounds like some bullshit.
Oh man!
But I take pride in looking crispy. Like it's a Marine thing. We can't wear our uniforms wrong. Someone's rolling over in their grave or gonna find us and stab us in the neck. It's just like a Southern man not being able to not say ma'am or sir. Like my mom will show up and choke me out. Like she can hear me. Like so I'm not gonna fuck it up. She's on her way with a frying pan.
As a civilian, it just sounds like a beauty pageant to me.
It really is. Their hair has to be a certain length. I mean, my husband's like laying his dress blues down, getting his ruler out because everything has to be like, a quarter of an inch or whatever. And I'm just like, wow. There is nobody. The beauty of the military is they do not want people with ADHD. They do not want people with OCD. But the people that have made the rules clearly had OCD and ADHD. Like, just
the Army's bananas. They put so much shit on theirs, but eighth inch here, that
is wild.
Inboard, it has to be inboard. Like,
yeah,
but I like it. Uniformity, making us crispy.
It makes me feel good.
I like it. I like when everything's crispy. It makes me feel attached to something that's 250 years old. But
we're at the hour and 12 mark, so let's hear it, Ty.
I got you. Shut up. Is my audio fucked up again?
No, you're good.
My bad. Do you have any saved rounds? Is there anything that you hoped to touch on that we didn't get to naturally?
Gosh, I really don't think so. I think that we talked about everything. I mean, if you're struggling out there and you think that you're not worthy of help and you think that your problems are too stupid, they're not, because it's not, like you said, it's not a competition. And my husband always tells me, if somebody has your same life experience and walked the same miles in your shoes, they would have your same problems. So go get the help that you need, because everybody has a different path. It does not matter if you don't feel like you deserve it. Just go talk to somebody.
I want to add to that. That being vulnerable is strength. Mm-hmm. I think people think that it makes them a pussy if they can't handle it on their own, or if they can't just man up against these things. But that's not how it works, and that's not reasonable. I ask for help all the
time. I dare you to come call me a pussy to my face.
He'll come at you, nubs flailing.
Oh, dude, your solar plexus, instep, nose, and groin. Sing. Sorry. And then the other thing we like to do, is there anything you'd like to plug? The websites to get a hold of Rural Salute and all the other things that you stand for. And then our hope would be if you have any events or anything you'd like us to shout out about, let us know. We'll put it all over all of our shit.
Yeah. So
How
our
do we
website
get a hold of you?
It's ohruralsalute.org. And then Instagram and Facebook is Facebook Operation Honor Rural Salute, Instagram OH Rural Salute, LinkedIn. You can find me on there. And
Lang.
Yeah. What else? Oh, we do have. So we're doing 2 events this next year. So we're doing one festival in Pennsylvania in June, and then another festival in North Carolina in September.
Is it Penn side or Philly side? Or sorry, Pittsburgh or
and they
smack dab in the middle.
They can find information about those festivals on the website that you mentioned.
Yes, we have an events tab, so we have everything all squared away there for people. Try to make it as easy as possible, but June 6th and 7th is Pennsylvania, and North Carolina is still to be determined. We're trying to find a location for that, but it'll be early September.
Sounds like a good relationship between SFH, and you guys should develop for cross promotion shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do co-brands and stuff where we'll take y'all's design and our design and give it SFH baby and do shirts and whatnot.
Cool.
It's on our website if you wanted to look at the collaboration stuff. But if not, Lance will probably reach out to potentially at least get the event information and see if there's ones that we can try to get to as well.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to do more events this year, whether it's, there's a couple that we're going to probably throw in last minute, but these are 2 big festivals.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're hoping to get to a point soon where we have our own one thing a year, and then eventually, couple things each year that are like SFH things, because we're currently at a point where we're setting up tables at other people's stuff for the most part right now. But
where are you guys out of?
We're technically out of Popka, Florida, Central Florida.
Okay. I was going to say, because last year we were supposed to have somebody do live podcasting at our event.
And he's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we've got this set up capable of moving it. Like I have basically a travel version of my setup for that reason.
Yeah, and if you need me to come with him, I'll be there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. And last year we had a really cool group of speakers, because that's another thing we do is we bring in speakers. So we had just some good guys there to talk about stuff, and they'd be good interviews. And
yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I always thought of something like that would be cool
Talk
to just to have like a long form, like a 4-hour marathon podcast where you just have 10 or 15 different people hop on throughout. Just have all those people kind of hop on. You wouldn't have to do it that way, but that would seem like it'd be fun.
And then in the breakdown, you could have from this time to this time, we're talking to this person. From this time to this time, we're talking. Yeah, so like if they wanted to see that, so people could dissect it if they want. I like that. Let's do that. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're rambling again. Would you be willing to come back on 6 months or so and do a part 2 with us?
Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
And then from there,
let's stay in touch.
Coming on.
But just to reiterate what he was saying, if something comes up, if you have an event, even those events you're already talking about when you're getting close and you're trying to blast it, if you want to let us know, send us any flyers. We'll talk about it on the show. Even if you're not here, we'll promote for you or do whatever we can to help out.
Yeah, share it on our socials as well.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming aboard. This was a great
thank
time.
you so much for joining us. It was a good time, in spite of Ty's whatever the hell's going on with your shit.
I'm super sorry. I'm not the one who ever has technical difficulties, so it's just my turn today. 40-something episodes, Zachary. I'm sorry.
Maybe just get a little fresh restart on that laptop when you're done.
I'm shutting it all the way down, and then I'm going to do the full reboot thing like you taught me how to do. I'm sorry.
You good?
Quit yelling at me in front of company. Embarrassing me in front of our friends.
Thank you, Michelle, so much for joining us. Thank you, Ty, of course. Great job. And thank you for everybody that listened along. Like, subscribe, share. Word of mouth is a really big deal for us also. Yeah. And we're glad you're still fucking here.
Hell yeah. One more.